Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today I'm in this Genesis GV60. I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes telling you everything I know about it. Let's get started. Let me quickly explain something that will make you understand this car a little better. Genesis is the luxury division of the South Korean auto giants Hyundai and Kia, and they've been making luxury cars for some time now. It's a bit like Lexus is to Toyota, or Infiniti is to Nissan. Basically then, this GV60 is a more luxurious Kia EV6, or Hyundai Ioniq 5. That's what this car is underneath. Same motors, same batteries, same setup. I can tell you straight away that if luxury was the goal with this, then they've properly succeeded. I've been out with some friends in this car trying to figure out if it's any good, and the reactions have all been the same. They've all been blown away by it. As soon as you get in the GV60, you just know you're in a quality product. The leather's soft and sumptuous, the buttons and switches are knurled like a Bentley. It's all really high end. I do love this interior, you know. They've somehow managed to make it ultra modern and yet traditional at the same time. There are some nice little touches too. Take for example this gear selector. When you get in the car before you power it on, it looks like some sort of crystal ball. It looks like something Mystic Mega'd use. And then as soon as you power it on, the crystal ball flips over to reveal this neat gear selector. It sounds gimmicky, granted, but it works really well. And it's touches like that that make you think, somebody really tried with this car. Somebody tried to make this whole GV60 a proper experience. And luxury isn't just a feeling. You know, if something's luxurious, it's supposed to make your life much easier, and this does. So this one, for example, has got heated and ventilated seats, it's got heated rear seats, it's got a heated steering wheel, it's got a panoramic roof, it's got a nice Bang & Olufsen sound system, it's got a blind spot monitoring system. It really does have the lot. And all those features combined with the silence and the nice interior, they just remind you that you're in a genuine luxury car. One of my friends was in this morning and he said if you were to cover up the badge and not tell me what I was in, I would swear that was in a premium German car. And that's what it's like. It certainly doesn't feel like you're in a Hyundai or a Kia. It is very good quality. In terms of interior space, the GV60 scores very well. There's plenty of headroom in the back, even if you're 6'2", like my pal was this morning. I say my pal was, he still is 6'2", I just mean he was in it this morning. I just wanted to do a thorough test and check how much room there was back there, even if you're a larger build. There's plenty of legroom up front, and I also like the fact that this centre console area here is kind of floating, so you've got more space all the way around it. There's plenty of elbow room too. It's a really nice spacious car, this. I also like the fact the glove compartment isn't really a glove compartment at all, it's more of a glove drawer. It's just all really good quality. Moving to the back, if you opt for this panoramic glass roof, which costs around £1,000, the headliner steps up slightly, so if you are 6'2", you'll still find an adequate amount of room back there. You get rear blinds, USB-C points, and even a 3-pin domestic socket. They really have thought of it all. Moving back to the boot, you get a decent amount of cargo space. This offers 432 litres, and the seats fold completely flat. Although one thing I will say, the rear seats are annoyingly difficult to fold flat. There's no lever or button in the boot, which is a bit annoying if you're in a B&Q car park on a Sunday morning. I do think though overall this would make a really good family car. It's spacious, but the footprint isn't massive, so it's nice and easy to park. And it's luxurious without being too fragile or flimsy. Everything feels really well screwed together. The GV60's been around for a couple of years now, so there are plenty of examples on the used market. And if you're thinking about buying a used GV60, just make sure you do a thorough vehicle history check before you hand over any cash. I always use and recommend a company called Car Vertical. If you use my promo code HIGHPEAK, you'll save yourself 20% off each and every check that you do. That's HIGHPEAK, all one word, HIGHPEAK. Or alternatively, click the link below in the video description. But it can just prevent you buying a complete lemon. Car Vertical isn't just a UK thing, it works in 35 different countries. It'll tell you whether the car you're looking at has ever been stolen, written off, had a mileage rollback, or has outstanding finance on it. In addition to that, if it has been involved in an accident, sometimes it shows you photographs of the damage, so you can see exactly what you're buying. I've seen it many times before where the Car Vertical reports provided photographs of the last time the car was advertised, so you can just compare the condition. In addition to that, it shows you the MOT history, the fails, the advisory items, the ownership changes, all that sort of stuff. And sometimes it gives you the average market price of the vehicle. So like I say, it is a thorough check, so make sure you do that if you're looking for a used one. And don't forget, use my promo code HIGHPEAK for 20% off. That's 20% off each and every check that you do. Right, well you're probably wondering what it's like to drive, aren't you? Well, it's a pleasure. It's completely effortless. It's comfortable, quick, silent. I honestly cannot fault it. In addition to that, it's very fast. Alright, you get a collision warning system too, which is quite handy. There are 3 different models. You've got the Premium, the Sport, or the Sport Plus. The base model Premium has a single rear motor driving the rear wheels, and that gives it 230 horsepower and a 0 to 62 time of just 7 seconds. The fastest model though, the Sport Plus, has 2 motors making it all-wheel drive, and that produces 435 brake horsepower, which gives it a 0 to 62 time of just 4 seconds. It's ridiculous, honestly that is supercar fast. One criticism though, the turning circle isn't great. I get Volvo V70 flashbacks actually. All GV60s are EV only, you can't buy one with a combustion engine, and they all have a 77 kilowatt battery. That 77 kilowatt battery gives the GV60 a claimed range of 320 miles. Realistically though, in the real world, I found it to be closer to 280, 285, something like that. Still, it's more than adequate for most people. The steering's nicely weighted, visibility's superb, even though you've got a sloping rear back and chunky pillars at the back, you can still see everything quite clearly. I love the little blind spot cameras you get on the dash the minute you touch the indicator. Of course, I've seen that before on Kias and Hyundais, but it's a nice little feature. It rides nicely too. It's nice and soft and supple, and these seats are supremely comfortable. It's a properly good car, this. However, there are a couple of issues. In fact, 3, so let me talk you through those. Firstly, the tech. It's all a bit tricky to use. I don't remember having any difficulty with the GV70, which is weird, but in this, just can't really get to grips with it. The sat-nav, for example, isn't the best. It took me longer than it should to pair my phone. I don't like the fact that the controls for the infotainment system are largely the same shape, size and location as the gear selector. That's a bit confusing. And I don't like all these beeps the minute I go over the speed limit. Watch this. We're in a 30 zone. I'm doing 34. I know you can turn those off, but it is a little bit irritating, isn't it? It's like constantly driving around with Hyacinth Bouquet. Right, so we're just getting on the bypass, so let me pop this into sport mode. Oh, there we go. Feels much quicker straight away. Oh, my bolsters have just gripped me on the sides. Right, you ready for this? You ready? That's quick. That is quick. The Sport Plus model comes with another button, labelled Boost, and what that does is it gives you 10 seconds of mind-blowing acceleration. I had it on the GV70 and honestly, well, I just wasn't prepared for it. Press it and everything around you becomes a blur. Watch this. That's seriously quick. For the first time in my life, I understood what it felt like to be Chuck Yeager. Something else to mention about the GV60 is it scored top marks at Euro NCAP. So this is a very safe car. It's full of technology to keep you and your occupants in one piece. Number 2 for me, and I know everyone will have their own opinion on this, but I don't think it's a good looking car. In fact, I think it's a bit ugly. From the front, it looks a bit awkward and it looks a bit like it's got a cleft palate. From the back, it looks a bit ungainly. I don't really like the sloping rear end. And from the side, its profile just looks a bit stretched and gormless. I don't really get it. In my opinion, the GV70 is a properly good looking car, but the GV60 just doesn't really work. Still, I suppose if you buy one, then you'll spend most of your time in the car rather than looking at the car, so it isn't really an issue. And of course, styling is subjective, isn't it? You know, with cars, beauty's in the eye of the key holder, isn't it? You might love it. I'm just saying I don't think it will go down in history as one of the prettiest cars ever made. Certainly, I think its siblings, the EV6 and the Ioniq 5, are much better looking. I also don't like the styling of the wheels on this GV60. They're too busy. I think if I were to stare at them for too long, I'd end up with a migraine. My other issue, my final issue with the GV60, this is a big one I'm afraid, is the price. It's just too expensive. When this was delivered to my office last week, I went downstairs to have a look at it and I thought, yeah, that's quite a nice car that. I didn't know anything about it, but I assumed it was around £40,000. And I thought at £40,000, this could be a genuine Tesla rival. You know, having driven a Tesla Model Y, I wasn't that struck with it, so I thought, yeah, I could see myself buying something like this instead of a Model Y. It's certainly more luxurious than a Tesla and more interesting and rare. But, and this is a big but, then I read the details, and this isn't a £40,000 car. It isn't even a £45,000 car, which again I could just about justify. No, this is a £61,000 car. £61,000, it's just too much. 61,000 Great British pounds for a car that looks as odd as this, I think is outrageous. Now I know what you're going to say, nobody actually buys a car like this with their own cash, and I get that, most at least. You know, if you've got your own business or something, there are loads of tax breaks, and it would kind of make sense. But still, you're talking an awful lot of money every single month, whether it's your money or your business's money, it's still your money. Personally, I'd rather save some money each month and just go with an EV6. There's nothing wrong with the way the EV6 looks. Yes, the interior of the EV6 is a little bit more plasticky, this is certainly more luxurious, but 61 grand, I just couldn't do it. To be frank with you though, I think I'd spend £10,000 more and go for the GV70. It's a much better all-rounder. I should point out actually at this point that it is possible to buy a base model GV60 with a single motor for a touch under 50k, so you don't have to spend 61, but there are just better options out there for less money. And that, to paraphrase Deborah Meaden, means I'm out. Well, I think that's about it then, guys. So thank you once again for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done already. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. I'll leave the links below. And yeah, cheers. See you next time.